Kenan Yildiz is a machine built to win. These are the words of the agent of the number 15 of Juventus. We'll speak about that because a double-page interview in Tuttosport was released today. Interesting words of the agent, so remain until the end of the video. We'll speak about Bremer, contract extension until 2028, about Juventus, Roma, and about Mercato. A lot of things today. Why? Because yesterday the journalists went back to work, and today we have our front pages, and we have a lot of things to say about our beloved Juventus, so you put a maximum of like if you want to. Continue to subscribe because now we open Corriere dello Sport. Ribaltone Napoli, overhaul in Napoli. Will tell me, Beppe, Mercato, yes, but we are interested in the Juve things. Why Napoli thing? Wait, because there is a link, an important one, and you will not be happy at all. Why? Because they are looking to reinforce themselves. Is it a good idea or not? I have absolutely no idea, but they want to reinforce them defense with Itakura, with Dragujin and Demiral, that are two ex-Juve players. They also think about Fofana, ex-Lens player that is in Saudi Arabia and wants to come back. But most importantly, like Gazzetta dello Sport is telling us, they are that close to go with Samardzic. Napoli, Samardzic is nearly a done deal, or at least they can open the door to the discussion with Napoli, for with Udinese. For what reason? Because we know it, they just sold Elmas to Leipzig, and they have the money to put on the table and to convince Udinese that said to Juventus, no, we don't want to sell the player in the winter, but with 25 million euro, Napoli is strong enough to go. They have the liquidity that at the moment Juventus do not have. And you remember yesterday we made a video where I told you that I was worried that in the winter and maybe even in the summer, Juventus will have difficulties to go for their number one targets in the midfield. Well, after the Paul, where Simeone said no, after Kefren Thuram, that is chased by big clubs like Paris Saint-Germain, Manchester City, and more, well, looks like Samardzic, the young Serbian player from Udinese, he could go to Napoli. Can we wait until the summer to take another player from Napoli, Zielinski? Well, the other bad news is apparently no, because Zielinski, Marotta was really fast in starting to negotiate with the player entourage and offering him a 4.5 million per year. So it's already the second player that Juventus in the midfield could lose on top of the pole. Is it a problem? Absolutely yes. Juventus will have to be really creative to find some players that can reinforce them, because the other teams that are playing Europe and receive these liquidities, they are going full power. They want to reinforce themselves, not only for the winter, but also for next year. There is a team that is looking to reinforce themselves immediately, not for the game Juve-Roma, because that will not be on time, but already from January, it is Roma that is looking for an ex-Juve player, Leonardo Bonucci. What is my opinion about it? I still need to process it in my mind, and from the moment that it will be a done deal, I will speak about it. But in the meanwhile, I'm asking you, what do you think about Leo Bonucci to Roma? Is it hurting you? You don't care? You're happy? Let me know in the comment. I'm really curious to read what you think about Leo Bonucci. That was the captain of Juve that is going in Serie A for 6 months, dreaming about Euro 2024. Another player, ex-Juve, Dybala, that yesterday we were asking ourselves, will he be there in the Allianz Stadium? Because you know it is still injured. Well, yesterday I told you, I feel it, I smell it that he will be there, and looks like we have a bit of confirmation because the papers, especially the one that are taking care of Roma, are telling us he's doing everything to be there in the Allianz Stadium, at least on the bench. So La Gioia, ex-number 21, ex-number 10 from Juve, could be there again in the Allianz Stadium on Saturday, and we know it. And when he's playing, it's a player that is dangerous. We have to pay attention for him. Hopefully he will not play, and I will be happy, but I think he will be there. Anyway, going back to Juve things. Bremer, ok. Sì al rinnovo fino al 2028. We have Bremer that said yes to a contract extension for 1 year. Could be that today is already the day where Juventus will officialize it, so there are no doubts anymore. The Brazilian defender of 26 years will continue his journey with 1 more year on his contract. Will he receive a decrease in salary, an increase in salary? No, everything remains the same. That means 5 million euro net plus 1 bonus, but he remains there for 1 more year. Is it interesting? What is my opinion about it? It's really smart. Of course it's really smart, because you know it, when you sign a player, there is a value that you're splitting over the years of contract. In his case, 50 million euros is what we paid, more or less, in 5 years. That means it's a cost for the player without the salary of 10 million per year. Extending with 1 more year, you are dividing it with 8 million per year. So Juventus is doing a save of 2 million euro per year. Then will he remain until the end of 2028? Will we sell him before or not? That's a question that it's too early to speak about it. But in the meanwhile, Juventus is keeping their strong defender that is growing game after game after game for one more year, and we are saving 2 million euros. So I believe it's a fantastic news. More on that? No, at the moment, no, except that I'm really happy. But Juventus is not only thinking about reinforcing themselves with the players that they already have, securing them, saving cost, but also finding some money here and there to go for the midfielder. And if I told you that De Paul is already a no, Samardzic will be extremely difficult, Zielinski for the summer, no-go, well, who is remaining there in the list? Well, Hojbjerg. Hojbjerg, that a lot of papers are saying more and more, he could be the real reinforcement of Juve in the midfield. Is he the player that I like? Not that much. Is he a player that is convincing me? Not that much. Is he a player that could come to Juve already in the winter? Yes. And he will have to convince me, and I believe a lot of you, because a lot of people here, except of some people that said he's a good player, well, they are not convinced about it. Well, let's see if Hojbjerg will bring something in our midfield in the winter, because we need it. If all the other ones are reinforcing themselves, we need to reinforce ourselves, because top 4, especially if we win against Roma on Saturday, looks more than secure already after match day 18, but it's not over. And to win against the Roma, we need our players. Yesterday I already told you a mini recap about, no, 2 days ago, a mini recap about the health condition of our players. The good news is that Locatelli is back. Yesterday he trained partially with the team. Today he will train with the team, and there are a lot of positive vibes that he will start against the Roma on Saturday. Important, super important. Otherwise you will have again to reinvent your midfield with Rabiot, the only certainty. Well, Locatelli, Rabiot, the only question mark is where will Weston McKennie play? And the good news is looks like Tim Weah is getting more and more minutes, and that he could possibly also start the game, which is good, because then you keep your physical midfield out of the USA boy, the French boy, and the Italian boy, Locatelli. Good news with who on the right, Weah, who on the left, big question mark, but it could be again Kostic, because we don't have that many options without Cambiaso. Now, one that will not be there is Alexandro. We know it out. He will miss the last game of the game. Cambiaso will not be there because of that suspension. One that will be there is Dusan Vlahovic. And Dusan Vlahovic, after his goal against Frosinone, is pushing to win again his spot as a starter. And that's important. We know it. When he scores, Juventus is winning. And that's a good one. So hopefully that goal against Frosinone, a winning goal, will give him that mental boost to start the game and deliver the exact same performance that he did last weekend. Important to have Dusan Vlahovic. Next to who? Next to Chiesa or next to another boy? Because if Chiesa is working hard at the moment as we speak, we don't have the certainty that he can start. He can possibly start with Kenan Yildiz entering, or Max Allegri is already thinking if he's not making it, then we start with Kenan Yildiz with Chiesa in second half. So that can be the jolly of Max Allegri that planned really well how to start him against Frosinone with that fantastic, beautiful goal that gave him a lot of confidence for him, but also for the team. They know that they can count on that young player to make the difference. Will he also make the difference against Roma? Big question mark. Well, if we are asking it to the agent of Kenan, he will tell you absolutely yes. I told you about how he started this interview. Kenan Yildiz is a machine built to win. Well, he spoke a lot and a lot of beautiful things about his player. Of course, he's speaking a lot and well about him because it's his player. He's part of his agency, so he will not speak bad about Kenan. But I have to say, when I read the double-page interview, I felt a lot of, I don't know if it's over conviction, or I don't know if he's really dreaming a bit too much. One thing is sure, the agent of the player is not having his feet on the ground. So let's start with Tuttosport, the big title. Alex Yildiz, linea calda. Hotline between Alessandro Del Piero and Kenan Yildiz. Both of the players with their tongue, la linguaccia. So what did he say? I already told you about the initial line, and then he's saying, since I take him in my agency and I started to observe him, he's reminding me a bit the player Ferran Torres. He has a mentality, he's humble, and he's a big worker. And not a lot of players that I know have the three of them combined, which is a huge, big difference. Some players have the mentality, some players, they are workhorses, some players, they are also humble. But players with the three together, Not that much. Kenan Yildiz, he has that. Well, these are the words of the agent. He continues saying, in Germany, when he was playing at Bayern, not a lot of people were watching him, understanding the potential in him. Not only the national team of Germany, because at the end he chose for Turkey, but also not Bayern and also not the other big teams in Germany. And that's where Matteo Tognozzi comes in. We already spoke about him. We made a video about Matteo Tognozzi that did an exceptional work. These are the words of the agent. Why? Because when we started to speak with each other, he already perfectly knew the player. And if today Kenan is at Juventus, it's thanks to him and the project that he offered to us. A lot of time we heard about that word, project. The question of Tuttosport, luckily, there is someone that asked it. But what project? They said initially growing, starting in the under 19, while they were asking to put him immediately into the next gen. And that's where Juventus said, no, we want him to start with the under 19. For what reason? Because it will be the first time that he will be away from home, away from his parent, and he need to have and find an environment in La Continassa, in Vinovo, to understand a bit where he is, to stay with his head there. And everything was going well until at a certain moment he started to find that for him it was a bit little, it was not enough to play with the under 19. He wanted to make that jump with the next gen. And that's where the first troubles came. Because it's true, we spoke about it last year. There were potentially some troubles. I believe it was, 1 year ago, where we said, we don't know, we are not sure. Well, here is confirmed there were some troubles because he was pushing. He wanted to grow, he wanted to go to the next gen. He wanted to take part to the USA tour from the summer, where there were some initial talks and not everyone was agreeing with. At a certain moment, especially when Juventus started again to have that sporting structure and when the off the field were a bit further away, it was clear that Kenan Yildiz would be part of it and all the problems were solved. So they said and they pushed extremely a lot for him to be there. And then we arrive, of course, to the game of Frosinone, and that's where he said he came to Juve to score goals like these ones, but also and especially to have victories, winning Serie A, winning the Champions League. I imagine that he will be there and stay at Juventus for the next 10 years at least. If Juventus wants the number 10, he is the number 10 that Juventus is looking for. He has the creativity of his Turkish papa, and he has the organization, the discipline of his German mama. Ragazzi, it's a beautiful combination. You see the beautiful words of the agent towards Kenan Yildiz. What about Del Piero? He said they know each other since already a few times. They are already in direct contact, probably with Instagram direct messages here and there. He gave him a lot of tips about what is Juventus, and he understands really well what Del Piero represents for Juve, dreaming about the same journey as Del Piero. He said that when he was a kid, he had that poster of Del Piero in his room, one of his big, huge idols. But he said the truth is Del Piero, no Del Piero, even if he called him to congratulate him after a goal of Frosinone, the truth is Yildiz is ready. He was ready and he will be ready, physically, technically, and mentally. Again, I told you, the agent of Yildiz is convinced about the player. What is the relationship between Kenan and Allegri? Said, we know it, in Italy it's not easy to play the youth, especially not in a top club as Juventus, but the mister is extremely intelligent and their relationship is fantastic. Allegri knows the value of the player really well, and there is a really strong connection between him and the coach. He also spoke about Montella with the Turkey, that they also gave him trust. He said it was a bit strange for us that he first debuted as a starter with Turkey instead of Juve, but at the end the things were going really, really well. And then the last part where he said, what about Yildiz? He said, I think it's a revolutionary player, also on the marketing side. I prefer him with his long hair, but at the end it's Max Allegri that decide, and then he made a joke about it. And then he said, but I believe that also physically, etc., he has the potential to become a symbol for the new generation, but of course first the field. Oh ragazzi, I tell you, I love that, the words, and I love when we are convinced about someone. You know, it's like a bit the dad that is praising the son, overpraising the son. I hope that this interview of the 27th of December will be true, and that one day we'll say, Mamma mia, the agent, he knew every single aspect and he knew about it and he was totally right. He has the potential to win first the Golden Boy and who knows, one day the Ballon d'Or. It would be beautiful if we keep Kenan for the next 10 years at Juve. On the other side, tranquilly, because if you start having an environment that is overpraising you, not only keeping you with the feet on the ground, but putting you there in the stars and only dreaming, at the first difficulties, like for example not playing or playing in having a bad moment, well, it could be really dangerous, because then you see the reality and then it starts to be really tough. So I love the interview and I believed in the player. I follow him since he arrived at Juve, since 2021. We are about to be in 2024. I believe in the player, but tranquilli, calma, otherwise we will go totally crazy. Hopefully he will be there against Roma and maybe even start, and who knows, if he can repeat Frosinone, then we can start again to take that interview and overpraying Kenan Yildiz. Let me know what you think about the interview. Let me know what you thought about the video. Don't forget, maximum of like, continue to subscribe. Grazie, forza, Juve.